Hello, Internet, and welcome to SonyCentric, the Outerhaven's official PlayStation podcast. I'm your host, Jason Kwasnicki, and I'm joined by my faithful co-host, even though everybody else has abandoned us. Mark sticks by my side, as always, Mark Sullivan.
That made up for last week's very, very poor introduction, where you skipped me.
Well, you unceremoniously disgraced yourself.
What do you mean? You're just upset because I was right about Resident Evil 4 obscure knowledge.
Actually, that was a double negative. So if you unceremoniously disgrace yourself, you might have actually graced yourself. Anyway, moving on.
My head. Right now, my head is just...
My head, too.
Floating, man.
I know, I just got home from work. It's been a rough week.
We also got so much Sony stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
PlayStation stuff.
Our heads probably feel just as bad as the old Shuhei head feels right now. Because Sony's had a really bad PR week.
A little bit.
It's almost, in a sense, it's kind of like a... somewhat fortunate that our schedules got really fucked up this past week and got pushed back. Because, like, now we've kind of seen... Because if we had just done an episode after that Sony meeting, quote-unquote... which we did... but if we had just done, like, another one the next week, there wouldn't have been as much, but, like, it's kept going, the train of bad events. I mean, like, immediately within that week, that Friday, you had Bethesda come out and throw Sony under the bus, saying that neither Fallout 4 nor the upcoming Skyrim remaster will have mod support on the PlayStation 4. And they laid the blame squarely at Sony's feet, saying that there was a disagreement and that Sony would not allow mods to exist on their console, quote-unquote, as they should be. Key operating phrase there. So we don't know the specifics of it. Sony has yet to respond. It's been a week now at this point.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything.
Yeah, so it's... At first, my first reaction on this past Friday, was somewhat skeptical. Because to throw out such... First of all, it was a very targeted piece. You know, very rarely in PR do you hear such blatant blame, especially when it's, you know, between big companies that have to work together on a regular basis, like Sony and Bethesda. But for them to throw that out there on a Friday afternoon seemed a little too calculated for my tastes. Because, think about it, they throw that out there Friday afternoon, Sony has to take time to come up with a PR response, and then it's going to sit there over the course of the weekend, you know, because it's the weekend. People have a weekend.
Right.
So they're not going to be able to respond on their blog until, like, say, Monday. But then they didn't respond on their blog. Nor have they responded on their blog.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I feel like this is the reason. It does seem really I don't know, kind of rash for them to just throw Sony under the bus. But at the same time, like, as soon as like Fallout 4 was announced, we've known about this mod support. We've known about their intentions for console mod support to be coming. And Bethesda hasn't exactly had the greatest not the greatest reputation, the greatest relationship with Sony. We can go back to 2011 with Skyrim. It ran so poorly on PS3s, and that it's especially because Bethesda had a lot of trouble developing for the PS3's architecture. But
the cell
to
processor.
The point where,
the cell processor, yeah.
Yeah. And just in general, just developing for the PS3, like Fallout 3 even, we can go back. Fallout 3 on PS3 was kind of a disaster for a really long time. It still kind of is, as somebody that within the past 2 years played through that game on PS3, platinumed it on PS3. I experienced a lot of frame rate issues, a lot of crashes, a lot of, you know, not great optimized things. And going back to Skyrim, like, it was so bad that DLC completely got, you know, months delayed on PS3. I feel like Bethesda's is kind of, like, fed up at this point. And that's why they just came out and said, yeah, there's no mod support coming to PS4, and it's not our fault. Especially because they have an audience to cater to. Bethesda, since they came to E3 last year, they kind of hit it out of the ballpark. Like they have a pretty good reputation with that. And since they announced Fallout 4, they announced mod support in E3. Like they have that reputation to live up to. For them to not be able to follow through on this, they're not gonna just let people think that it's because of them.
Yeah, and to be clear, it's extremely doubtful this is a tech issue. There was slight, not even rumors, Bethesda themselves put it out there that there were some issues regarding Sony using proprietary audio files on their system, and that might interfere in some way with the modding workflow. However, I find it very doubtful it's a technical issue. I think actually it was more likely an argument over certification, specifically because, and this is a rumor that was floating around NeoGAF shortly afterwards, specifically people were saying that there was a disagreement over who would pay, or how, if there was a disagreement over if each individual mod needed to be certified, or not even certified, just, QA'd, and right, who would pay for that. And obviously, on one hand, it's a bit unrealistic to ask that of Bethesda. On the other hand, I can somewhat understand Sony's concern in terms of the consumer experience, even though at the end of the day, it's not really so much the consumer experience they're worried about as much as their own brand image. It's a tricky situation. A lot of people have fallen one way or the other. Some people squarely blame Bethesda for promising this before it was fully okayed. Whether or not it was fully okayed at any point, we don't know. On the other hand, a lot of people are straight out blaming Sony for denying mods when they're very well maybe, if somewhat an obtuse and understandable reason. So there's a lot we don't know, and I feel it's a bit murky. Either right way, it's not a good look for Sony right now.
It really isn't, because this is kind of a shame. Even as somebody that I don't really buy into mods too much. I'm more about catering to the experience that the developers put together for you, right?
Well, I think the problem is that, and I think more people than the amount of people that actually care about this are people like you who don't really care.
Right.
The problem is that this dropped 2 days after Sony had not a god-awful, but a really
very, very mellow,
poorly received
conference. Yes,
it was like the first chink in the armor, and then the second chink came immediately after. So everybody perceives it to be something much bigger than it really is.
Right.
And then we get another. This one honestly would have been big either way. The Last Guardian got delayed.
Oh.
So what was it? October 6th.
First Final Fantasy 15. Now The Last Guardian.
There's gonna be so much shit to play now, like in just December.
Actually, if we really look at it, Final Fantasy 15 is now pushed back to November 29th. The Last Guardian is December 6th.
Gravity Rush is in between.
Oh,
Gravity Rush 2.
Well, it's a good thing that that's like, as a college student. For those of you that don't know that I am a college student, that's nearing the end of the semester, so it's kind of nice that these games are coming, at a time where I might have time to play them.
Thank God the Fractured Butthole got pushed back into 2017. Probably right around the time I'm going to want to dig into Horizon.
Yeah. Well, so let's double back on that real quick. Yeah, the South Park, the Fractured Butthole got pushed back to they just said Q1
2017,
right? Right.
Yeah.
So they didn't give a concrete date yet.
But I mean,
whereas
even no, all I was going to say was, going back to Last Guardian though, regardless of just the fact that it was delayed, I mean, thank God it's still in 2016 for Sony's sake. Because if that had been pushed out of 2016, oh my god.
The Last Guardian?
Yeah.
Oh.
the internet outrage. I mean, there's not that much internet outrage over it. I mean, it's more like kind of a collective groan.
Yeah, it's not like, I wouldn't even say it's a groan. It's more of an eye roll.
Right.
It's like, you know,
it's a joke. It's an industry joke at this point.
What a fucking surprise! The Last Guardian was delayed again. It's you know.
I find it interesting because you know, we're hearing all these now. People are actually playing like big chunks of it at TGS. TGS is going on right now, and it's interesting because what we're hearing about it, it sounds to me like this game is it's a game out of time still. Like, the same things that people said about Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are the things people are saying right now about The Last Guardian. That, you know, it can somewhat fight you sometimes on the controls.
Right.
I mean, it will deliver some, like, really lofty experiences. You know, there's some heights that the game reaches in terms of, like, not really just design, but like just emotionally, you know, as a piece of art. But, you know, the same kind of outdated controls and things that never really bothered me, but bothered a lot of other people.
And it should be brought up that these are from outside previews that have been circulating around the past few days.
Yes.
Just to give some context.
We
did not actually experience this. Yeah, I wish I could play Last Guardian. That'd be awesome.
I'm only saying this because the game is being delayed again, but like it's showing still as if the game was in development like 8 years ago.
Right. And going back to what you said about, like, you know, controls in Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, we do have to remember those games, and I'm not saying this is a good thing. Like, this is a reason to be concerned. Those games, Ico was 2001 and Shadow of the Colossus was 2005. They are pretty much relics of their time. Like, going back and looking at those, like, those were both PS2 games. It was a very different market back then. It was a very different time for video games as far as what genres were popular, how games were handled. Those things, those issues, like the camera issues, they were present, but they were excusable.
Right.
And in a situation like this, especially with a game that's been in development since 2007, and, you know, has such a story development like it does, it's a little worrisome that this far along, where video games are now, you know, in today's market, and in today's, especially, like, how much more popular they've become to a mass market, it's a little concerning that we're having these issues in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say storied, because it is storied, but nobody knows the story.
Right.
That's gonna be like a book on the level of, like, what's it called, Console Wars.
Right.
I hope somebody someday writes that book. That's gonna be a dank book.
You know, this is a thing that Colin Moriarty, before he was at Kinda Funny, was on Podcast Beyond at IGN, he brought up multiple times whenever he would talk about The Last Guardian that he wasn't so much interested in the game itself, but more so interested in its story of you know, its development story. Right. That would be, when that game finally came out, that would be the more interesting thing to come out of it. And I kind of have to agree. Like, I really kind of have to agree, especially at the point where we are now, with these concerns that are being brought up from early previews, and the fact that it's been, you know, delayed another month and a half or so. Like, I really, even more so than the game itself, I feel the bigger mystery is why it took this long to get here.
I'm fairly certain, based on what people are saying about this game, that it literally was in development and was internally canceled for like a good 3 or 4 years. And they similar to how, like, Final Fantasy 15, like, when they changed to 15, like, Versus 13 was literally just vaporware. Like, it was just a bunch of concepts. Well, and they just took it and ran. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing.
particularly for Final Fantasy 15, the idea is that was simply a concept. That was simply a proof of concept to garner interest, and that game didn't really start development for a long time. That's and you know, we have absolutely no basis to go off of whether or not that's true. That purely is a theory. The same goes to The Last Guardian. We have no idea if that's true.
Final Fantasy 15?
Well, yeah,
for 15. No, for Final Fantasy 15, that's totally Tabata like straight out said that like when he took over, like there was almost nothing. There was just like a bunch of concepts and some early prototypes.
Well, yeah, but there had to be enough based off of what we had seen before Tabata took over. We saw trailers. We saw trailers with gameplay. Like
that's what I mean by prototypes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Prototypes are nothing to scoff at. But
because
it wasn't enough.
Like the trailer we saw for Final Fantasy VII remastered, like the game or remake or whatever. I'm sorry. I'm having But the trailer we saw for Final Fantasy VII remake, like that was a prototype.
Right.
Or I mean, we don't know that for certain, but most likely that's a prototype.
Oh no, I feel like that's a very, very safe assumption.
So
I was with a friend about this the other day. Like I have absolutely no doubt that what we saw at PSX for a Final Fantasy VII remake, as far as the gameplay goes, I have no doubt that that's going to change. Because how many times have we seen gameplay of Final Fantasy 15? For even when it was still Versus 13, even when it was still 15, how many times have we seen gameplay and it's changed? You can even think about the Duske demo. If you go back and play that, you know what? Actually, I want to like give that out as like an idea, like not as homework, but per se, but like this is like a thing. Right before 15 comes out, go back and play that Duske demo, and then play 15 when it comes out, and see how different.
Well, the Duske demo is already different. It's been patched.
Yeah, but it's still it was patched.
I understand what you mean,
enough, but not enough to a point where it was different enough, because the whole idea, and I actually wrote a preview of this when the Platinum demo came out, the differences between the two. As far as the combat goes, the Duske demo still utilizes the same core mechanic of, you know, you put a certain weapon into a certain part of your combo, and you chain that together in a different way. And when Platinum demo came out, that showed the more recent and probably final method of combat, which is you can just switch on the fly. Right. They're vastly different. They play vastly different, and I implore you to go back and play Duske before you play 15 to see how different those things are. Like, prototypes are nothing to scoff at, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, also, fun fact, there's going to be a tactical, which is essentially a turn-based, not turn-based,
like a wait mode.
Wait mode they call it. It's going to be like a tactical, kind of like something in Dragon Age when you slow it down and choose your attacks.
How they haven't really they talked about that in an ATR, but they didn't really bring that up too much. Like that wasn't. I feel like that wasn't widely broadcasted as a feature. Kind of a shame.
It's in a trailer. It's in a trailer. They show it in like full display.
Yeah,
but
it's not like a big thing.
Lest this become a Final Fantasy 15 podcast. Though.
Yeah. You and I could fucking do that.
So the Last Guardian, I think we're both a bit worried that it hasn't changed a lot.
And it's not that it really needs to be. Like, we can go ahead and... I never really expected The Last Guardian to be a big seller.
No.
Because I don't even think Eco... Well, especially not Eco, but I don't even think Shadow of the Colossus, as much of a reputation as that game has, I don't know that was like a massive seller either.
I'm fairly certain the remaster sold more.
Oh, I'm sure, because by that point, that game had such a reputation, and it, you know... I have to imagine that game, you know, just by word of mouth, by people singing its praises. Yeah, I have no doubt that HD remaster.
Yeah, so there's that. The Last Guardian got delayed. So Last Guardian got delayed. Fallout 4 mods. What else do we got on the list? Oh yeah. So this one is kind of not breaking, but this happened just today before we recorded. So at TGS. Shuhei was doing an interview and was questioned on the PR or the bad PR, I should say, surrounding No Man's Sky and was asked pretty directly, did the game and its shit show, for lack of a better term, of a release,
Damn.
did that hurt the PlayStation brand? I mean, I personally enjoyed the game. And I reviewed it. I gave it like an okay score. I thought there was a lot of room for improvement. I enjoyed it, but
for the record,
you can't deny.
Sorry, go ahead.
All I was gonna say was you can't deny that the release wasn't a shit show the way it unfolded.
Oh, it 100% was. Even just like we had a whole episode surrounding the whole idea about day one patches and that whole debacle that was going on
right
at the time, and then the game came out, and I did want to point out we're still planning a No Man's Sky special episode.
It will happen.
It will happen within the next few weeks.
I think the way those things are gonna go, just as a side note before we move on, I think we're just gonna kind of every once in a while try to do one of those, just a episode, not like a main episode, just an episode focused on a game that we'll all play it, whether together or whatever, and
right.
Go through, not necessarily even a review, just talk about a game. It doesn't even need to be a new game, maybe an old game. But
I mean, word has it that you listeners really liked the Uncharted spoiler cast.
Yes, exactly.
We were very excited to jump back into something like that.
And we really, here at SonyCentric, we like to give you what you like.
We do.
But
that's why I'm on almost every episode.
Exactly, Mark.
Because we like to give you what you like.
Mark's a pretty dank persona. I already dropped a dank, by the way. You missed it.
I'm the dank of. Oh, you already dropped a. Oh, I was gonna say I was gonna be so excited if I was the dank of the episode.
But yeah. So when asked, did No Man's Sky's release hurt the PlayStation brand? Shuhei was pretty, because he's pretty candid almost all the time. He's very good with PR, and his response was pretty, I think, as nice as it gets. He flat out said, it was a poor marketing strategy, and that, while it was kind of not unwise, it was unwise, but the way he put it, Sean was kind of doing all the PR by himself, which was a poor decision because he didn't have anybody guiding him. He had no PR experience, and it was just overall bad PR strategy, which is pretty neutral, and I think the nicest it can really get. It's kind of funny, though, because the internet has kind of molded this as Shuhei threw Sean Murray under the bus.
Right.
When it was kind of as neutral, I think, a statement as you can make about the topic.
Right, and yeah, and not really wrong.
No, it's not wrong. It's just kind of objectively true.
And it's not like, it's not really taking a shot at Sean or taking a shot at that studio. Like, they're a small studio.
It's just that Sean hasn't taken it upon himself to tweet, anything.
I have to imagine. I think he's a little embarrassed.
I think it's been since like August 18th he hasn't tweeted.
I actually don't know. I haven't noticed.
It was. I was reading in an article somewhere. It's been like since August 8th. There are people regarding No Man's Sky who feel like so personally wronged that they are literally counting the days until Sean Murray says something. They are literally like threatening on the internet to like sue, which like I want to see somebody try to sue and see how much money they'll waste.
Right. But then let's keep in mind these are probably the same sent Jason Schreier at Kotaku and Sean Murray death threats for the delay.
Oh, quite the opposite. I think these are just those same assholes who like to hate on everything.
Oh, well, that's possible.
Like the people who before the game came out, like they weren't even gonna buy it. They just hated on the game before it came out. I don't know. It's probably a mixture of the two.
I don't know. Can we just live in a world where people either enjoy things or they don't enjoy things for rational reasons and don't do anything crazy? Like,
can we just live in a world where people get this emotional and this riled up about shit that matters? Like Donald Trump getting elected president.
Oof. Damn, getting political. SonyCentric.
I'm just saying though, like, it's a fucking video game.
No, I just like I want to live in a world where we can just enjoy what we enjoy. Not like I want to live in a world where the word hate doesn't exist when it comes to video, or in general. But
Right.
like
a world where you don't have to be judged on whether or not you're a sexist or a feminist or whether or not you're a hater or a not hater. Just, you're having fun playing a fucking video game.
Right.
Chill the fuck out. Smoke some dank weed.
God damn it.
Yeah, so, I want to end this episode, though, on the note that, this stuff combined with what we talked about last episode, the PS4 Pro, the poor reception of that meeting. Honestly, I don't think any of these things individually is really that bad. Nowhere near as bad as, say, like the jumbled launch of the Xbox One.
Hey,
I'm not just targeting Xbox here. It's not. I'm sorry.
No. We can go. It's not even. It wasn't even Xbox One. But let's go ahead and remember the biggest problem with that whole debacle was Don Matrick telling people, if you don't have an internet connection, there's a system for you. It's called the Xbox 360. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That was the best. Holy shit! Fuck you to the general populace.
But I mean, even going further back, it's not. None of this that we just talked about is nearly as bad as, and even what Don said, not nearly as bad as Sony. Get a second job to get the PS3.
Yeah.
None of this stuff is really that bad on their own. It's
That's
the fact that this is my opinion at least. It all happened together in such a short amount of time, and B, like up until this point, Sony has seemed almost invincible, at least in the PR and the mind space.
Right.
So like, suddenly something happens that's bad, and everybody's like, you see all these threads on NeoGAF. Holy shit! The early PlayStation 3 era Sony is back. They're getting arrogant, and I honestly think people need to kind of like pump their brakes a little bit.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree.
That, and I mean, but there is one thing though I will say relating to The Last Guardian, because when you look at it now, the only PlayStation exclusive, because Gran Turismo got pushed back as well, right?
Yes, to 2017.
Right. So the only PlayStation exclusives now for this year are Gravity Rush 2 and The Last Guardian, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Well, that plus I guess any PSVR launch title.
Right.
But that is that's almost exclusive and limited.
That's not going to sell like hotcakes.
It's not going to sell like hotcakes because there's the hardware limitation there.
Exactly. So all we got is Gravity Rush 2, and I'm not even talking like I'm just talking like their first party lineup for PS4.
Right.
Those two games come out early December, and that's it for this year. Now, granted, I do think, and I will make bets on this, I do think Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be a massive success, because everybody who sees that game is just pumped about it. Guerrilla as a developer, like when you watch the documentaries, not documentaries, the interviews and the videos on, like they are pumped about this game. They are confident, and people. I
want to go ahead and say, like, Guerrilla Games is a fantastic developer. They
are,
and I think I've talked about this before on the show. I stand true to this. Probably my favorite first-person shooter of one of my favorite first-person shooters, if not my favorite first-person shooter.
Killzone 2.
Killzone 2.
Yeah.
Fucking phenomenal. If you've not played Killzone 2, go play Killzone 2. It is a great shooter.
I want to make this note too. Keep in mind, Guerrilla is also the only Sony first-party studio that's going to have, in 2017, 2 titles out on the PS4.
2 titles.
Killzone, what was the name of it? There was the Killzone Shadowfall.
Shadowfall was a launch.
That was a launch title. That's what I'm saying. They're the only studio that's going to have 2 titles out on the PS4.
Oh, I see. Oh, by 2017. I thought you were implying they were releasing a second game.
No.
What the hell? They're busy as hell. Jesus.
But that's my point. Is that
no? That's a good point.
Yeah, but outside of Horizon Zero Dawn, which I do think is going to be, that might be like the Uncharted 2 of this generation. I think that's going to be a big game. I think that's going to
claim.
I think it's going to be a new franchise. Maybe it's just my excitement for it. But I think it combines elements of literally everything that everybody likes.
I really hope that you're right. I'm very much looking forward to that game.
But that little rant aside, there's only, for this year, 2016, there's only 2 exclusives coming. They're coming in December. That's right. The Last Guardian and Gravity Rush 2. 2 pretty niche games that, they're not really gonna
garner a wide audience. Yeah. They're both very Japanese. Let's start with that. They're both very Japanese, which, traditionally, lately at least, hasn't had, they don't sell particularly well here. They're not garnering a wide audience. I don't necessarily know that they need to. I think Sony's focus more so the rest of the year is PSVR, and at this right now, PlayStation 4 Pro.
So, by year end, you're gonna have Uncharted 4, Ratchet and Clank, No Man's Sky, which will probably end up coming to Xbox
at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The Last Guardian, and that's Gravity Rush 2. That's 5 exclusives. And
there's probably more that we're not thinking of right now, but
But I mean, still, that's a decent amount, I suppose. But it's also the way that these games keep getting pushed around. I mean, Uncharted 4 is only there because it got delayed.
Right.
Ratchet and Clank, I think, was always a spring game.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky, I think, also got delayed by like a year.
I mean, that game, that game got pushed and pushed and pushed.
I mean, it just I don't know if I have a particular opinion on it as of yet, but it just says something about the way Sony has the way they've handled their first parties this gen, because they've kind of built their brand on first party titles, especially last generation. It just seems that they're kind of coasting right now on third party. It's just something to think about and keep there. But really, this year, the only blockbuster we had this year was Uncharted 4.
That's a thing, but that's also a thing that Microsoft kind of did with the 360 when it was out. That's a great parallel. Eventually they got to a point where there weren't many first party exclusives. They were mostly, the third party system. They were mostly, we have these deals to get this DLC first for this game. Stuff like that. That's kind of what Sony's doing right now.
That's a great parallel to make. My rebuttal though would be, and I mean you're completely right. That's why I say it's a great parallel. But my argument, I think, would be that Microsoft doesn't have the same vibrant roster that Sony does, and that's not meant to be a slight. It's just the numbers. I mean, especially now that Microsoft has kind of really mishandled a lot of their studios that had IPs with a lot of potential. I mean, they just closed Lionhead Studios. They just kind of for now at least, and for the foreseeable future, totally killed Fable. Who knows what's going on with Fable?
That's a damn shame.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, all Microsoft has for sure is Halo, Gears, and Forza. There are 3 pillars. And, Forza's doing okay. Forza does racing games kind of are stable. Gears, I mean, I haven't heard much excitement over Gears 4. We haven't really heard much.
I actually have lately heard a lot of excitement about Gears 4. But,
I just haven't seen it around. Maybe it's just me. I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen much material out there about it.
from what I've seen when Gears 4 was first revealed, it was kind of a meh, bland reception when it was first revealed. Lately, from what I understand, Horde mode was more previewed and shown off, and the reception is so far, from what I can tell, has been very positive.
Okay, well, no, that's cool for Gears people. I just when I saw it at E3, to me it looked like more Gears. That's fair, and I kind of agree with that. But the reception that I've heard about Horde mode, at the very least, has been overwhelmingly positive. Let's be completely fair to Microsoft though, real quick. They are kind of experimenting. They are.
We've got exclusives like Scalebound coming. We've got a new Crackdown. God knows where that is, but still, we've got. What's the other one I was thinking of?
Recore.
Well, we had Recore, and then
Recore just came out, although that was lukewarm. People didn't like that much.
Yeah, there was and the one I'm thinking of before was Sunset Overdrive. That's what I was thinking of. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, no, I credit must be given to where credit's due. They are experimenting a lot. I wasn't trying to bash too much on Microsoft. More to say that Microsoft has traditionally relied on third parties because they don't yet have the same kind of stable of first parties that Sony does. Reliable first party IP.
I mean, like Sony has a lot of studios that work on a lot of original content.
Right. My point, I guess, to sum it all up, was that whereas Microsoft has a strategic excuse to be relying on third parties, Sony really doesn't. So it's weird that we're now 3 years in, and we only have a handful of really strong first party titles to point to from Sony. And I think we'll leave it there. That's kind of the most disappointing thing I think we can say about The Last Guardian delay. Hopefully the delay though will make it a better game. But folks, we want to know what you think.
Hey,
do you have enough exclusives? Oh, what's up?
I wanna rapid fire through a bunch of TGS news.
What is that?
I can do that. Oh man, I've got like a bunch of stuff queued up here. All right, are we ready for this?
What's up?
All right, Neo release date. The PlayStation 4.
PS4
February
Pro.
9th. What do you mean PS? No, it's like PS4 in general. No, Neo, like the Dark Souls like samurai game kind of deal. Not the code name. No, Neo, the Dark Souls like samurai game got a release date out of TGS for February 9th next year.
Real quick, we've been joined. A lovely lady, a lovely Delaila appears. Delaila Lugo.
You late!
My bad, guys. School is kicking my ass. School and work. I'm so sorry. I crashed. I'm here. What's up?
I brought this up earlier that I'm currently in school. So is Delaila, and she has it even worse than I do.
I'm not. School's for fools.
Get the fuck! Get out of here.
You only missed almost the entire podcast because of school, Delaila.
Damn it, man!
Be
I
nice.
feel so
Come
bad
on.
about it.
Don't worry. It's okay. It's all right.
I love this though. I love this show. This is my sanity.
let's go ahead and say, like we were not kidding. This week has been a struggle to schedule. We're sorry we're late, but we are here to bring you the stuff you want to hear, which is us talking at you about it and saying the word dank a couple times.
Nice.
That's a staple.
Okay, so let's rapid fire through this news.
Right,
Mark.
rapid fire. Neo, the Dark Souls samurai game, February 9th, 2017. I've told you that at least 3 times. We've also got Psy Games, which is a developer for I believe it's a mobile game in Final Fantasy, or a mobile game in Japan, wow. It's very popular. It's called Grand Blue Fantasy. They are collaborating with Platinum Games to bring a game called Grand Blue Fantasy Project Relink, which is supposed to come out in 2018. Who the hell knows if that's coming west? I kind of hope so, because I hear that Grand Blue Fantasy in general is pretty dope. We got a new trailer for Kingdom Hearts D 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, which gave a release date of January 28th in the West. The trailer looks great. I did not like the new remix of Simple and Clean, but that is just me. I don't know if you guys care about Kingdom Hearts. I don't think we've ever really talked about Kingdom Hearts,
That's
actually.
because nobody cares, because Kingdom Hearts 3 is never coming out.
That's not
Oh my
fucking
gosh.
true! Oh, God.
You realize that, so that game has probably barely, like, that game is late 2018 at the earliest.
No, I know, but that game's coming out. It's gonna come out.
It has to.
They have to separate it by at least one fiscal year from Final Fantasy 15. Not to mention, like, the way Square Enix's working groups are kind of stretched out right now. Right now, everybody's kind of on board, or at least as many as they can put on board for 15. It's so stretched that they've apparently, like, completely outsourced 7 Remake, which who knows if that's ever going to be a thing. Everything's completely butt-fucked over there.
My main concern is how much more is Tetsuya Nomura going to take on, because, that's the whole reason Tabata became the sole director of 15, was because Nomura was on that, and he was on Kingdom Hearts 3, and by that time he had to have been planning out and working on 7 Remake. It's like, Tetsuya Nomura needs to just chill out and focus on one thing and not, 5 things, which is his main problem. It's the reason these things take forever to come out.
That, and he literally spends, 5 years designing people's hair.
Yeah, but...
Literally.
Can you blame him? It's pretty fantastic, Jason.
Literally, he insists on drawing the characters in their hair and having that all done before they fucking start working on the actual game.
Yeah.
He needs to stay in design. He's not a... when I say design, I mean, art design.
No, I know what you mean.
The dude's not a good writer. He's not a good at actual game design. He's a fucking artist. Let him do that.
Right. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, that Kingdom Hearts 2.8 has a release date January 28th in the West. There's another thing. Koei Tecmo has Muso Stars, which is apparently, I don't know. It's Koei Tecmo Smash Brothers apparently, but whatever. That's a thing apparently coming out. I don't know if it's coming here either. We'll see. And I feel like the biggest thing to come out of Sony's TGS conference was Kojima trying to explain Death Stranding.
Clubs.
Oh my god.
It's a game about clubs.
The dolphins.
It'll apparently be, well, we already knew it was going to be open world in some capacity. It's going to be co-op, and him trying to explain this game, it kind of left everyone with more questions about it. I feel like I feel like this game was still revealed too early. He only finally just decided on an engine for it, and now
he just announced it there, yeah.
Right, and now they just have him, oh yeah, it's like this, and this. It's like, this is very, very early on. Don't talk about it yet. The best part, though, when you were watching that video, they had to change translators, midway through, because the first translator, was just what the fuck is going on while she's trying to read it.
He's talking about dolphins and then chords and connections and beating people up but still being connected with them. I would be pretty lost too translating.
It's
for
funny
that guy.
because that's typically how I used to feel in the middle of a Metal Gear game.
Right, exactly.
As much as I love Metal Gear, I'm a diehard Metal Gear fan, but good God.
Turn off the game console, Raiden.
Hey. We can talk shit on Metal Gear Solid 4. We cannot
I wasn't talking shit. I love that game.
Oh, I know. I'm Jason, alright, no, never mind.
Alright, do we got any more TGS stuff to go through?
No, that's pretty much all I got. I just wanted to rapid fire through that. That's part of the reason why this show was postponed. Was there was a TGS conference for Sony. I personally thought that it was worth talking about, and some of the stuff was worth talking about. Especially
we had a lot of shit. This is an overstuffed episode, but I think we had some fucking awesome discussions though.
I
missed them.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Terrible. Wait.
Well, you can always go back and listen to it, and so can the audience members go listen to it and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Yep, in the comment section below, because this has been SonyCentric, folks. Let us know.
Segue.
Do you think you have enough exclusives for your Sony console? Do you think that Last Guardian, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Is it going to be somewhere in between? Will it make your PS4 explode like one of them Note 7s? Hit us up in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe, and check us out for more Sony-centric content every week, folks. Well,
you listeners have primarily been listening to the show on YouTube. But did you know we're now entirely also on iTunes?
Yay.
I completely set up every episode. Every episode's on iTunes now. Going forward, I will make sure that every episode is up on iTunes. So, like listening to the show on YouTube, if you would rather have it on the go ahead and go on iTunes. Search SonyCentric. It's SonyCentric Podcast. You'll be able to download every previous episode and every episode going forward on iTunes.
That's what she said.
Oh!
This has been SonyCentric, folks, the Outerhaven's official PlayStation podcast. My name, Jason Kwasnicki. I've been joined by Mark Sullivan and the lovely Delaila Lugo. It's been real. Peace out, Internet.
Later.
Hi and bye.